welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make the pattern for this Oscar De La Renta top. So I wanted to go right ahead and make the top without making a video. However, I could not resist making it a diary entry. I think I'm now becoming a video making junkie. Now, my interpretation of this design is a bodice that has a drop shoulder, the waist has also been dropped, and the bottom half of the top flares out a little bit. There's some extra fabric that drops to one side of the front bodice, and the top also has some draping at the front and the back. The draping at the front goes from just below the underarm of one side to the waist of the other side, and at the back the draping is on only one side and goes from center back to the waist. Now, I couldn't quite understand the lower back of the top from the picture, and so I had to invent my own. So I'll be making the pattern for the top with just two differences. One being that I don't want as much fabric falling to the side, and the second one being that both the front and the back lower half will be falling to the side on one side. Okay then, let's go ahead and start already. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you are aware whenever I make any diary entries. Also, give this video as many likes as you can if you want to see more of these kind of videos from me, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. My name is Ijeoma, and welcome to my sewing diary. The materials you will need are your no ease darted pattern, extra pattern paper, tracer wheel, gum or masking tape, pins, pen, marker or pencil, short ruler, long ruler, paper, scissors, curved ruler, and measuring tape. I'll leave the full list as well as all associated links in the description box below. Separate your front and back pattern, and then starting with the front pattern, mark 1 inch in from your neck point on your shoulder line and connect to the center front neckline with your curved ruler like so. Drop the waistline by marking 2 inches down from your original waist and ruling a line across. Separate the front pattern at the new waistline and set the top piece aside while we work on the bottom first. We would need to work on a full bottom piece, so on a large piece of paper, first mark and roll 1 inch in from one edge of the paper, and then pin and trace your bottom front piece by placing it on the center front of the 1 inch line made like so. When you're done, cut and outline your trace piece at the back of the trace pattern so that you now have two opposite sides of your front bottom piece. Connect both pieces together by gumming or taping the first piece on the 1 inch space of the second so that you now have a complete bottom piece. Take off the waist dart by snipping through the center waist dart line to the tip of the waist dart, and then closing and sealing the waist dart on the pattern. This will cause the bottom to flare out a little. Place extra pattern paper underneath your completed bottom front bodice piece and mark 3 inches down from the side hem. Join these points to a point about midway on the bottom hem like so. Extend the 3 inch mark to the other side with a straight line and mark a point 4 inches away from the 3 inch mark. Connect the 4 inch mark to the top of the waist with your curved ruler like so. Mark a point 10 inches down from the 3-inch mark and rule a short line across towards the left-hand side. And then extend your 3-inch and 4-inch points to this line in a flare like so. The width of the flare depends on how wide you want yours to be. I did not want mine to be more than 7 inches wide at the initial bottom. On the left-hand side of the flare, mark a point 3 inches up from the hem and connect to the other hem with your short ruler. And also curve out this corner like this with your curved ruler. I've removed all excess paper so that you can see what your finished product looks like. Add a 1/2 inch seam allowance round and label your pattern. You'll be cutting one of this. Set this aside. On the back pattern, drop the waistline by marking 2 inches down from your original waist and ruling a line across like you did the front. Separate the back pattern at the new waistline and set the top aside while we work on the bottom. Trace out the opposite side of your back piece as you did the front by first marking and ruling 1 inch in from one edge of the paper and then pinning and tracing your bottom back piece. Cut and outline your trace piece at the back of the trace paper so that you have two opposite sides of your bottom back piece. So since you have two back pieces, you will need to locate which one of your pieces will have the flare end. It should be the same side as the front. So you can use your front pattern to find this by laying wrong side on each other to figure out the matching side. Then go ahead and add the flare like you did the front by first closing and sealing your darts, placing extra pattern paper underneath the pattern piece, marking 3 inches from the side hem, joining this point to a point about midway on the bottom hem like so, extending a 3-inch mark to the other side with a straight line and marking a point 4 inches away from the 3-inch mark, connecting the 4-inch mark to the top of the waist with your curved ruler like so, marking a point 10 inches down from the 3-inch mark and ruling a short line across towards the left-hand side, extending your 3-inch and 4-inch points to this line in a flare like so, the width being the same as the front, marking a point 3 inches up from the hem and connecting to the other hem with your short ruler and also curving out this corner with your curved ruler like so. When you're done, go ahead and add a 1/2 inch seam allowance round both back pieces except at the center back and label your pattern. You'll be cutting one of each. Set these aside. Going back to the top pieces and starting with the back, transfer your shoulder darts to your back armhole by drawing a line from the tip of the shoulder dart to any point on the armhole. Slash through the new line to the tip of the shoulder dart and then close your shoulder dart. This will cause your armhole to increase. Redraw your shoulder line and place extra pattern paper underneath the wider armhole and redraw your armhole with your curved ruler. Measure the length of your back armhole, note down and set aside. Also measure the length of your front armhole, note down and set aside. You'll need to create your sleeve head to help create the drop shoulder. So on a fresh piece of pattern paper, mark 2 inches down from the top edge and rule across the length of your paper. This is your top line. Also locate the center of the paper by folding it in two and outlining the line. Calculate your bicep line by adding your front and back armhole measurement that you recorded, dividing the sum by 3, and then subtracting 0.5. Mark your bicep line down from the top line and rule across your paper. You'll be drawing your front and back sleeve head in the space between the bicep line and the top line. The left-hand side is the back and the right-hand side is the front. where the vertical line intersects with the top line is called the crown. So measure out the length of your back armhole from the crown to touch the bicep line on the left hand side, and do the same on the right hand side for the front armhole. Connect both points to the crown with a straight line. On each side, mark the midpoints of the lines you have just drawn. From the midpoint marks, mark ½ inch up on the left hand side and ½ inch down on the right hand side. Connect the ½ inch points to the crown and bicep lines like so to create a triangle. Mark midpoints on each new lines drawn, and on the left hand side, go up 3/8 of an inch from the mid mark above and down to 1/8 of an inch from the mid mark below. On the right hand side, go up 5/8 of an inch from the mid mark above and down 3/8 of an inch from the mid mark below. Also mark 3/8 of an inch on each side of the crown. Connect the points with your curved ruler like so. Mark a point 3/4 the length of the vertical line between the crown and bicep line and roll across your paper. Label X on both sides where this line touches the back and front sleeve head. Now, I had marked the point halfway on the vertical line in this clip, but felt it was too short when I sewed a mock, hence why mine will be shorter for the time being. Also indicate back and front patterns on the pattern like so you know which is which. Mark ½ inch below the 3/4 point on the vertical line and connect to point X on both sides with your curved ruler. Label the point where the back and front armhole measurements touch the bicep line as A and B respectively, and then measure the distance between A and X and note down. Also measure the distance between B and X and note down. Separate your sleeve head patterns like so. And now it's time to create a drop shoulder. So starting with your back bodice piece, measure your AX distance from the bottom armhole going towards the top and mark. At the top of your armhole, first mark 1/4 inch up. Redraw your shoulder line to touch this mark. And then mark 1/4 inch out from the end of your new shoulder line. Join the back cutout sleeve head piece to the back bodice piece by aligning the X mark on the sleeve head to touch the mark made on the armhole, while also making the tip of the sleeve head piece end at the 1/4 inch mark made at the top of the armhole. Glue your sleeve piece down. Mark a point ½ inch away from the bottom of the attached sleeve piece like so, and connect these points to your shoulder line with your curved ruler like so to create the drop shoulder effect. Also join these points to the bottom sleeve with your short ruler. Redraw your neckline from the same point as the front. Recall we went in 1 inch at the front neckline, so go in 1 inch on the shoulder line from the back neck point and redraw your back neckline like so. I've removed all excess paper so you can see the outline. So go ahead and add your seam allowance. You will not be adding any seam allowance at the center back because it already has your 1 inch zipper allowance. Add 1/4 inch seam allowance at the bottom of the sleeve head only, and a ½ inch seam allowance everywhere else. Label your pattern. you'll be cutting 2 of this. Add the front sleeve headpiece in the same manner to the front bodice as you did the back, and that is by first measuring your BX distance from the bottom armhole and marking on the front pattern where it stopped, and then at the top shoulder armhole, mark 1/4 inch up and out and redraw your shoulder line. Join the front cutout sleeve headpiece to the front bodice piece by aligning the marks on the bodice and sleeve to touch, while making sure that the tip of the sleeve head piece ends at the 1/4 inch mark made at the top of the armhole. Extend the bottom of the sleeve by 1/2 inch and join to the shoulder line with your curved ruler. Also join it to the bottom of the sleeve with your short ruler. Glue your sleeve headpiece down when you're done. On the center bust line, mark a point 1 inch in from the bust point and redraw your bust dart from this point. Also redraw the top of your waist dart by marking 1 inch down on the center waist dart line and redrawing your dart to the original waist line. I've also removed all excess paper so you can see the outline. Add a 1/4 inch seam allowance at the bottom of the drop shoulder and a 1/2 inch seam allowance round except at the center front. And you're done! One Oscar De La Renta-ish top coming up next week, Friday. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. See you later. Bye!